Marshall's ready, driver's ready. Keep her clean, keep her clean. And it's a race, good job guys. Gary gets a little daylight there on that first lap. Got 1 second gap over Ethan, but catches a pipe there on the top. That's going to drop Gary back to the 4 spot now. Ethan's going to see if he can pull this lead out. Borland gets a little squirrely down the front stretch. Patting Gary all over the back of him. Oh, Pat rolls over the Humpty Bun, lets Gary get by him. So it's Ethan, Borlando, G-Money, McCreary, the Burger King, and Darren, and Bart. This is a fast crowd, kids. Fast lap belongs to Ethan, a 16.0, Orlando 16.3, Gary 16.5, Pat 16.8, Darren 17.2, Bart 17.0. Those are your fast laps so far. Ethan holding about 2.6 seconds over Orlando. Gary's reeled in El Borlando here, seeing if he can get by him. Borlando trying to keep that car nice and tight to the pipe. Bart letting our leaders go through. Gap out front, 1.8, then 4/10 back to Gary. Oh, Orlando squirrely down that front stretch again, but he's still able to hold off Gary. Ethan, new fast lap 15.881. Bart just earned his fast lap 16.963. All right, it's now a 4-second gap. Gary did get by Borland. He's got 4 minutes, 45 seconds to try to catch that 4-second gap Ethan's built. Second place coming up behind Darren. Darren very nicely gets out of the way, lets him go. Mark Bennett. Borland gets by Sansom on the step up. Darren very nicely lets him by. All right, we got 3:50 to go. Ethan's pulling out a little bit more gap, 4.6 seconds now over Gary. Gary has gotten his fast lap down to a 15.8 as well. Ethan a 15.881 to Gary's 15.884. That's 0.03 of a second fast lap difference. Pat, that's leader behind you, sir. Oh, Ethan trouble over that middle double. That's going to give Gary's going to smell the blood in the water for that one. 2 minutes, 50 seconds to go. Leader coming up behind Darren. Darren very nicely gives him some space. Oh, upside down over the Humpty Bump. Gary gets by him. Darren actually marshaled Ethan. That's 2 mistakes by Ethan there. That's going to put Gary back up front. It is a straight fight now up front. Gary had that problem there on the first lap or two. Now Ethan's had a couple problems, but let Gary get out front now. 1.1 seconds the gap with 2 minutes, 10 seconds to go. They're coming up on the back of Pat here. Pat very generously moves over, lets the 2 leaders through. Oh, Ethan just a little problem getting on the front stretch. Doesn't need to give Gary much here. These guys are just a tick off of a 30-lap pace here for 8 minutes. We got 1 minute 28 to go. Gap out front, 1.5 last time around. It's 1.0 now. Ethan caught a half second on Gary that lap. 1:15 to go. 1 mistake is all it's going to take here, kids. Six tenths. Oh, and there's a mistake. Not bad. But leaders coming up on Bart and Darren, and they are racing. Bart and Darren are racing. Yeah, that gap between Bart and Darren, only 2 tenths there. They're going banging wheels side by side. And then that's going to be second place trying to come through them. But they are racing for position. Darren very nicely moves over, doesn't lose a lot of time. Bart moves over too. Again, doesn't lose much time, and that pretty much keeps the gap between Bart and Darren about the same as it was. Front gap 2.4 seconds with 12 seconds to go. There's 1 mistake too many for Ethan.
Gary says done.
Oh, Gary, it cost you 15 thousandths of a second.
Bart's rider done.
You missed 30 laps by 15 thousandths.
Gary done. All drivers.